Hi everyone, I'm Selena of Fully Coutoured, and in this video we'll go over how to make this wrap jacket or wrap cardigan using McCall 7262. We're going to work on view B, which is the view with the full-length sleeves. The pattern suggests that you use a knit fabric or a stretch fabric, which I have in front of me. This is a lightweight sweater knit fabric, has a bit of a stretch. It's a four-way stretch actually, meaning it stretches along the grain as well as across the grain. Now, of the 5 pattern pieces that come with the pattern, we'll be using 4 pieces. Number 5 for your sleeve, number 3, which is the front band, number 2, which is your back, and this pattern piece you actually need to make sure that you cut that on the fold. And last but not least, you'll have your front pattern piece, number 1, which is a very large pattern piece. So I'm going to start with the first pattern piece. You'll need to cut 2 of the front, that's the number 1. And when you trace out your pattern, make sure that you include your button markings as well as the notches on your seams. Next is number 2, which is the back, but just remember you need to cut that one on a fold, so you'll have one piece, but it'll be folded. Also make sure that you mark all of your notches. Pattern piece number 3, the front band, you'll need to cut 2 of those, and you will also need to cut 2 of the interfacings to match. And you will need to cut out 2 pieces for your sleeves. Now my arm is large, so I need to add more room to the upper portion of my sleeve pattern using the slash and spread method. If you don't need to make adjustments to your sleeves, then feel free to skip ahead. But if you're interested in seeing how I use the slash and spread method to adjust my sleeves, then keep watching. So first I'm going to pin the top center portion of my sleeve pattern to my fabric because I need to stay in place. Now I'm going to trace the bottom of the pattern because I do not want to add additional room to that part of the sleeve. I'm only adding fullness to the upper arm. The slash and spread method allows you to add fullness to a portion of a garment piece while maintaining the edges or the shape. You'll need to measure the fullest part of your upper arm. This will be needed to know how wide to spread the slashed pattern. Now as you can see, I slashed my pattern into 4 pieces. This is because of how wide I need to spread the pattern. It allows the upper edge to lay better. You can always try splitting it down the middle first, and if laying the top of the pattern flat becomes a problem, then you may need to add more slashes to help with that. Now you can see why I pinned the top center of the pattern. It's the pivotal point for this piece, so it needs to stay centered. This particular sleeve pattern is symmetrical, so I want to make sure that I space out the slashed pieces evenly. Then I'll come in and I'll measure the new width to see if it matches the measurement that I need, which includes my arm measurement, plus an inch or so to give my sleeve some room since I want to wear a shirt underneath my jacket. Continue to spread the pieces until you get to the measurement you need, and also remember to check for symmetry. Make sure there's equal spacing by measuring the placements of each piece starting from the center. Once your measurements look good, trace out the newly created shape of the pattern top. Because of the slash and spread we performed, we've been able to now add fullness without altering the armhole seam. It will remain as designed, so the notches of the pattern pieces will still match up, even though now you have a fuller upper sleeve. Now I have the upper outline and the lower outline of my sleeve drawn. I'm going to connect the two by using this French curve, not because it's necessary, but because it helps me draw a better curved line. I've had this thing for probably a decade before I even first used it, and half the time I still don't know what I'm doing with it, I just like to have it. But I'm going to gradually draw a curved line connecting the top of the sleeve to the bottom. Check out my handiwork. I'm marking the center point of the top clearly because I'm going to use these marks to help me create a symmetrical pattern piece. Instead of trying to match the freestyle curve that I just did, I'm going to first cut out half of the pattern like so. I'm going to fold the fabric over at the center marks and then cut the other half of the sleeve so the 2 sides then match. And this is what my new sleeve looks like compared to the sleeve designed for the pattern. Now we can start sewing. First, we will reinforce the inner corner of the front. You will not be sewing any pieces together. You'll be sewing each piece individually where the pattern illustration suggests. Next, we'll attach the 2 pieces by sewing them together at the center back. Yes, this is the front piece, but this piece wraps around the neck and is attached at the center back. Notice how your pattern piece was labeled. Step 3 tells you how to stay the shoulder seams on your back pattern piece. I skip this step because I don't do this step for other knit cardigans I've made. If your fabric doesn't hold its own weight well, meaning it droops or it pulls as it hangs, then you may want to do this step to give your seam some stability. Once again, you will not be sewing any pieces together. This is done individually. And if you're wondering, your local fabric store may carry hem tape, which can be used as seam binding. It's usually near the thread and zippers. Next, you'll want to stay stitch your neck edge. Again, this is just one piece. You'll not be sewing anything together yet. Stay stitching your neck edge will keep it from stretching and distorting while handling and sewing. Now that we've done all that, we can sew things together. Step 5 says a lot, but don't worry. All it's saying is attach the front and back pieces at the shoulders and around the neck and collar. Remember when you attach the front pieces together at the center back here? That's this piece in the pattern illustration. And this area here is the back piece attached to the front piece. Make sure that the center seam you made on the front piece lines up with the center back of the back piece, and make sure to match any of the pattern markings. So as you approach your small circle, you're going to stop. I put my needle down into my circle. You're going to lift up your presser foot. You're going to rotate your fabric. And you want your foot to now line up with the direction that you're going with your new side. And then you start sewing again. Clip the seams like so. This allows the garment to have more give around your neck. It allows the garment to lie better in the curve. You'll find yourself having to do this for other garments as well. Next, we will attach the sides of the front and back together. Simple enough. Just line up the sides of your front and back. This is the seam that will start underneath the armhole. Match up any of the pattern markings, then sew down the side. Do this for both sides of the garments. Next, we'll be ready to do our hem. The pattern calls for a 5/8 inch hem, but you're going to hem the entire length of the bottom of the garment, and this includes both the front and the back. You'll start from one end, you'll go all the way across to the other. You'll want to first finish the edge, however you do normally, then fold over the 5/8 inch. The next two steps are for the interfaced front band pieces. These pieces will be attached as the finished edge to the front of the garment. The end of these two steps will look like this. You will take your interfaced piece, fold it in half, and iron it. Flip it inside out and fold it along the crease. Then sew the end. Then you'll want to get some scissors and clip the seam down to remove some of the bulk. Flip the right side back out, and you'll do the same thing to the other end of this piece. Sew it and flip it inside out. And that's it. You'll do this twice since there are two pieces. Be mindful that one of the ends has an angled edge, and this will be important when attaching this piece to your garment. Now we'll begin attaching the front band to the front opening of the jacket. Before you begin, finish the edge of the collar similar to however you chose to finish the hem. The pattern says to attach the band to the front opening and then baste. Feel free to do so, but I skipped this step. Make sure you pay attention to the edge of the front band, making sure that the edge that is straight across goes at the top towards the collar, and the end that is angled will line up with the hem. Pay attention to which direction your angle should go. You want it to be a smooth angled line like this, but if you placed it wrong, it'll look like this. Next, the instructions mention self-facing. This is the uppermost portion of the collar. You're going to fold this on the fold line that was marked on your pattern with your right sides together. Yes, it will cover the front band that you just attached. Your collar edge should be finished from earlier in the video. Once you've completed that, you'll turn it right side out. This corner here is the top of the drape on the jacket, as seen here. To finish off the collar, we will attach the edge that you finished to the seam at the back of your neck. Line up the centers and have the edges even. You'll sew the edges together between your small circles where you pivoted earlier. Next, we'll get ready to add the sleeves. After you've stay stitched the top of each sleeve, you're going to fold one of the sleeves in half and sew the sides together. Grab the other sleeve and do the same. Now, remember how I made adjustments for my large upper arm? No adjustments were made to the top outline though, so the sleeve and the armhole line up beautifully as promised. Once you're done with the sleeve, the only thing left are the buttons and the buttonholes, which you'll attach at the pattern markings that you transferred to your fabric. Sew your buttonholes and sew on your buttons, and you are finally done with your wrap jacket, sweater, cardigan, or whatever you were trying to make based on the fabric that you chose.